we want to welcome you to Small Budget, Big Impact. As you know, this is affordable ways to level up your marketing. My name's Jamie Berkner. I'm the Director of Marketing and Content Strategy at MCI Group USA.
And hello, welcome everyone. My name's Jamila Center, and I'm so happy you're here. I work as the Vice President of Marketing and Communications for MCI USA. And let's get started.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the marketing team challenge. Every association I've been familiar with. So first of all, you come up with a really good marketing plan as your marketing team. It's a great plan. It hits all the bells and whistles. You're really going to move the needle for your association. Here's the marketing budget. We're not even sure this is you can use this in the water. This isn't really floatable. It's not a boat, but okay, you got to work with it. You got to do it. It's no big deal. And then this is what your association actually is expecting. I think if you could raise your hand and let me know, does this sound familiar to you? You've got really big expectations, but not a lot of juice to work with. Okay. All right, so let's use the chat a little bit. And if you could just enter into the chat and just enter in a couple of the specific marketing challenges other than budget, some of the specific marketing challenges that you're facing that you attribute to having a small budget. So if you could just take a minute and enter that in. Tracking results of marketing, data management, yes. Time to keep track, limited human resources, small staff, analytics, conversions, yep. Social media savvy executives, yes, or lack of savviness in the C-suite, I guess. Small team and time, yes. Okay, well, this presentation, we're going to walk you through some ways to save time so that you're working smarter, not harder, and you're able to do more with less in terms of budget and in terms of staff. So let's go through some of the outcomes that you can expect from the presentation today. Jamila and I are going to talk about a scenario that's going to be familiar to a lot of associations. And then we're going to walk through how you can plan the work so you can plan. Again, working smarter, not harder. You know what to expect. You know what your resources are, and you know some of the tips and tricks that we'll share with you to move the plan forward. We're going to discuss strategies and tactics at every stage of the marketing plan, along with some of the free tools that we've identified for you to use. And then most of all, you're going to have access to ready to use templates and a list of tools that we've vetted, that we've used, that will help you deliver maximum impact with minimal investment. And just so you know, we are not associated with any of these companies or organizations that we are with the tools that we're using. These are just tools that we've used in our everyday life and in our everyday work that we are recommending. So today's agenda. First, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about the plan. We're going to go through audience and persona research. We're going to talk about content audits and curation, and then how to develop goals and KPIs. And then we're going to talk about the customer journey. And we're going to go through all of the stages of the customer journey and talk about how these tips and tricks and will fit into each stage of the journey to help you optimize your messaging and help you get the most out of your out of the resources that you have, including the tools and templates.
Thanks, Jamie, for kicking us off to a great start here. So the setup, for our presentation today, Jamie and I talked about, as we were planning this, we decided to create a pretend association to provide additional context for the ideas that we're going to present. So we have a specific kind of scenario that we've set up. And so our entire presentation, for the most part, will be based on this scenario hoping to contextualize it with an applicable situation that hopefully will be relatable to many of you. And so our scenario here, what we're challenged with bringing to market in essentially is an annual meeting for a healthcare association. So the primary goal of the event overall is to increase the number of attendees by 15% from the 2019 annual meeting. And so in 2019, there were 500 registrants. 2022, our goal is 575 registrants. Pretty straightforward math, which is, about all I could handle. And so some key considerations for marketing. One thing, we've got an attendee acquisition budget of $1,000. So that's $1.75 per attendee. This does not include the cost for any of the on-site activations, program books, printing, and all that. And we have 2 people on the association's marketing team who also have other responsibilities. We also are looking at a lead time of about 120 days to bring this event to market from the time registration opens. In total, the attendee acquisition budget that we're talking about of $1,000 is only 0.7% of the revenue goal. So, one thing I'd recommend is looking at what your marketing budget is and looking at the overall budget for your event and advocating that, there's a legitimate business goal here to invest a little bit more in marketing. However, that's, developing the marketing budget and creating the business case for increasing your budget is another session. So moving on from here, we're going to talk about.
We're going to talk about how to plan your work so you can work your plan, like I talked about earlier. It's with limited resources, like we talked about. We're working on the assumption that advocating for more resources for marketing is a longer term goal. And as Jamila mentioned, it's a whole different presentation, a whole different workshop. So if you have the limited budget and the limited resources that you have, let's figure out how to plan your work so that you can maximize every dollar that you have in your budget. So ideally, your marketing team or person has already been involved in some of the meetings that you've already had to discuss the conference plan. So it's important for the marketing team to have a solid understanding of what the annual meeting entails, who it's for, why anyone should attend. And then presuming you're armed with all the details of what's being planned for the upcoming meeting, it's time to start working on the marketing plan. Some key considerations for establishing a marketing plan are understanding the audience. When it comes to marketing, content is king. The messaging is crucial to the marketing plan. And you're going to want to take time to analyze the content that you have, how you can use it, where you have gaps, how you might fill them. And as you're creating your tactical plans, also think about your specific marketing goals and KPIs. As a bonus, it's also helpful to look at your competitors or their organizations in your space and see what they have going on. At a minimum, like a list of competitors will be helpful in the process, and we'll get into the why soon.
So next we're going to get into the first thing that Jamie mentioned when we're talking about our plan, and that's the goals. And generally when we're talking about an event, the event goals usually include things like revenue or registration or the number of first-time attendees or things of that nature. So setting strategic event marketing goals requires alignment with these overall goals for the event. So the marketing goals should be designed to help achieve the overall event goals. And so one way that I like to do this is to think about the event goal, which we've already discussed is increasing registrations by 15%. Then I like to go through and brainstorm a list of ways that marketing can advance this goal. So this is really kind of getting very tactical. And in this example that you see on the screen, it's only one thing that marketing could do. But what I would do is I would make a whole entire list of many, many things that marketing could do to help increase the registrations. Then I go back to that list and really narrow it down, right? And I say, okay, this goal is not really feasible because it's going to take too long and we don't have time to develop or achieve this, or we don't have enough resources, or we don't have enough money. So I start crossing things off of the list to do for this year and have a shorter list of things that we actually can achieve. And then from that list of things that we can achieve, I back into creating the goal for that particular tactic. So in this case, where we would showcase video testimonials from 2019, some of the specific goals for marketing could be, by the campaign launch date, collect at least 3 video testimonials from 2019 attendees describing their experience, and to publish the videos across Revel channels to obtain at least 300 views total prior to the event start date, right? So that's a very specific goal, actionable goal, and achievable goal that supports that particular event goal. So hopefully that is clear. And in your template set, you will get a worksheet where you can kind of see, there's a little example in there of how the process kind of goes, and hopefully that'll be helpful for you in developing and establishing your marketing goals to achieve your event goals or any other goals for any type of marketing initiative that you're working on.
Great, thanks, Jamila. And then to develop a marketing plan, you've talked about the goals now, let's talk about the plan. Develop a marketing plan. You want to understand your audience and understand what speaks to them and the areas they're interested in. You want to spend some time researching member data, past attendee data. These activities are going to help you in creating personas or proto-personas. You're going to be able to create a customer journey and identify the specific contents and channels, which are basically the same, except it skips the customer interviews and typically relies on staff and a small group of volunteer leaders to make assumptions based on the data you have. So one of the audience research tools I use is called Spark Toro. Plans start at free and then go up from there, obviously. It gives you the ability to enhance the service. The different service levels give you the ability to enhance the service for a period of time and cancel it if you need to. But what Spark Toro does is it crawls over 80 million social profiles and web pages to find out what and who your audience is, what they read, what they listen to, what they watch, follow, the kind of content they share, the kind of hashtags they use, what they talk about online. And then you can use this kind of information when you're developing your different marketing plans and your the content that you develop. So here's a customer persona example. And one of this template is going to be in the packet handout that you receive, but basically just bare bones. A persona is representation of the ideal customer based on data and research to inform who, why, what, where, when, and how you should engage and deliver value. You're going to utilize information and assumptions we already know and believe, along with concrete data to create prototype personas. And some sources for free persona templates, in addition to the one that we're going to provide to you. You can look at HubSpot or Miro or Lucidchart. There's all kinds of different platforms that offer free persona templates, and they all have similar categories to complete. For the purposes of this, we developed one to speak to our specific scenario in the hopes of just fleshing this out even further and helping you contextualize the information that we're providing. So our persona is Sophia Langman. It helps if you give your persona an actual name. So you're thinking about the actual person that you're going to be communicating with, the actual person that you're messaging for, and understand their pain points better. So as you can see from the persona information, she's a professional, she's mid-career, she's a manager of her department. And she's in the dermatology practice, and her pain points are her goals are to find relevant CE, but she has limited budget and she's having to pay for her CE out of pocket. She wants the CE to help her stay employed or even promoted. She wants to remain attractive to potential employers. Some of the pain points are she hasn't attended an in-person CE event in 3 years. She feels isolated professionally. She's worried about job stability, just due to the global economic situation we're in. Technology in her field is moving quickly. She wants to stay up to date. And so basically this is a professional need that she has, but she needs it to be affordable. She wants to be able to make sure that she has opportunity to connect with colleagues, and that it definitely meets her professional goals for enhancing her skill set.
So now that, thanks Jamie for giving us some background on who Sophia is and who we're talking to through this process. And so now we're gonna kind of bring it all together, taking you through each stage of the customer journey. But before we do that, real quick, raise your virtual hand to let us know if you're currently using customer journey mapping as a regular tool in your marketing efforts. Great.
We have 4 people that raised their hand, Jamila.
Okay, thank you.
5.
All right. Awesome. Thanks. Well, hopefully, this session and the information that we're going to present now will give you another tool in your toolbox to help you kind of create a roadmap for your campaign planning. We all have a lot of information, a lot of ideas, a lot of things to do and activities that folks want us to do, but I find that customer journey mapping really helps create a roadmap and a guideline for organizing and setting your campaign plan. So let's take a look. So this is a customer journey map template that MCI USA uses. And ideally, you would create a separate customer journey template for each of your personas. And you want to revisit this for each of your campaigns that you're working on, because your customer goals behind each of the products or services that you offer would be different. So you want to complete a customer journey map for each campaign and for each of your personas. I'm not going to dive deep into this. You will get this template in your template set, but I will just take a couple of minutes to discuss how this works. And so across the top, you can see the various stages that we utilize as we are thinking about the customer journey, from awareness to advocate. And then we outline the customer goals throughout each stage of the customer journey. So what is it really that's driving them at each stage of the process? We then identified the touch points, so the ways that we as an organization have to engage with the individual based on their persona throughout this whole entire experience. We also try to imagine what the customer is thinking about at each stage, and what their experience is, how they are feeling throughout each stage of the customer journey. And then we would also ideally add in some specific keywords to help us with some using tools like SparkToro and things like that for each stage of the customer journey.
So now we know the different touch points and the questions that our customer persona is having at different points in their journey. toward, in this particular example, toward discovering relevant CE that they want to obtain, or that they want to purchase. It's time to start digging into mapping out what kind of content we want to utilize in order to persuade them to move further through that tunnel. What we've done that is we've created at the different stages of the customer journey. There's certain types of content that have been shown to help move them along to the next stage. And what we've done here is sort of as giving you bullet points on what these are, so that you can consider a healthy mix of these in the content mix that you develop for your marketing plan. And I'm not going to read through all of these. You're going to have these when you're going to have access to the slides after the presentation. So you can have these as sort of like a touch point and going forward as a good resource point. And then something else you want to do after you you know what stages the customer goes through, you have an idea of the types of content that helps move them down through each stages. Something you're going to want to do is, what do you already have that you might be able to repurpose for the campaign? Maybe you just need to take a look at the graphics and refresh them so that they reflect more the current campaign that you're working on. And so what this does is, for this template that you're going to receive also after the presentation, is you're going to be able to begin a content audit, or do a content audit to help you understand what you currently have, what you might be able to repurpose. Maybe it's not as heavy of a lift as creating a video from scratch. Maybe you already have a video that a customer provided in another circumstance, and you can repurpose that for your current campaign.
I love repurposing. Thanks, Jamie. And so, now that we know kind of a bit about who we're talking to, the stages of the customer journey, we've got some content cataloged and identified that we think will be appropriate to use throughout this journey. We're ready to go, and we're going to kick off this campaign. And so, we are going to start with building awareness. And, the most important thing I think to keep in mind in the top of the funnel is that this is where we are building trust with your audience. And this is where we are hopefully getting to consider our organization or our product and services to be reliable, to be expert, and really kind of just building that relationship initially. So it's important because your organization or your product or services may be unknown or unfamiliar to this prospect. So we have to provide information and value, and we need to do that very quickly. So when you get the materials, and you go back and you look at the types of content, what you can see in this little box here, that are best suited for the awareness stage, you'll find that these are a lot shorter, the shortest form of content that you have to hook people quickly, but they don't know you. So you want it to be good and of value, but we also have to understand that they're not likely or as likely to take a deep dive into something that's a longer format when they don't really know if it's going to be worth that investment of time, because they don't have a relationship or experience with your organization, products, or services. So specifically at the awareness stage, someone like Sophia, who is already a member of our association, but we still need her to register for our annual meeting, we know that she needs to get her CEs. So the touch points that we have with her are that she's seeing an ad or post on LinkedIn. She is a prior attendee, so she is receiving past attendee email communications. She does see the community forums on our online community, and she also sees information on our association website. But she's thinking about other opportunities potentially to earn these CEs. Is this the best option for her role in her job? Is this going to help her alleviate pains that she has or achieve gains that she wants to advance? And does the timing work? These are some of the things that she's thinking about at this stage. So from a content perspective, some of the things that we're thinking about is providing an infographic through our social media channels that covers the ROI. Maybe a checklist of the top 5 considerations for geriatric skincare, which is what our association is about. We've got a blog on our community forum that's describing the meeting content tracks. And in our newsletter, we have an article that's discussing career growth and development. And within that article, we've strategically placed an ad for our annual meeting within the newsletter. The channels that we're looking at for this component, for this stage, are going to be social media, email, our community, and our website. And the tools that we're going to use are going to be SEMrush, because we can do some competitive keyword research. Google Analytics, because we want to understand our website traffic and making sure that people are having a great user experience. SparkToro, to find our audience, influencers, and their interests. Canva for graphics, and we use MailChimp to send out our newsletters. And so in this case, one example to show is how we've used SparkToro for audience research. And in looking at this moment in time, I searched for dermatology in SparkToro. And this is all using the free version, by the way. And what we found were some top words in the bios of the people who talk about dermatology, right? And it breaks down the percentage. We found the top hashtags related to people who talk about dermatology. And we found some top phrases related to people who talk about dermatology. Also within SparkToro, we got some additional insights, including the social media accounts that these folks follow the most. So we can do a little bit of research on what else these folks are looking at. And, you know, when you look at social media, you can also quickly identify on any page, you know, those posts that are getting a lot of engagement. You know, who they actually engage with. It's listing some organizations. So again, just a lot of intelligence here, what websites they visit most, and some particular hidden gems of content. So, you know, in the chat, if you would, chat about how you would apply some of the insights like the ones we just showed you from SparkToro to your event marketing plans. And I'll go ahead and back up just so that you can see this example on the slide as you jump in the chat and let us know, you know, how you might use some of these insights as you are thinking about activating your plan.
Thanks, Barbara. I see a note that says, what a great way to fine tune the plan. And Toby says, you find top words. You can help to find people that are interested in your event. Absolutely. So in addition to top words, you can also you can use SparkToro. It'll help you find keywords and phrases. And as Michael says, you could to some microsites that you might want to target in approach for either, if you have the budget, if you could do some digital advertising on those sites.
Yeah, I think you know, you could think about trying to do any lookalike campaigns. There's some great answers here in the chat, but basically, it's, you know, in our opinion, it's a great way to get a lot of intelligence. And I think, oftentimes the marketing team, while we are embedded in our organizations and our associations, we aren't necessarily the subject matter experts in our field or in our industry. So having access to this type of intelligence is really game changing for us, because we don't always know all of the other organizations or all of the terminology that's used, all of the keywords. So it's really, really helpful, and you know shows us what our audience likes and follows and is interested in. So really happy to share that with you all today. All right, Jamie, we're moving on to consideration.
All right, and in consideration, this is the part in their journey where they're really thinking about the different options that they have, and they're like sort of hemming and hawing. So you're going to want to develop some of the content that directs what their goals are at that period of time, and also it also really gets at is a little bit more stickier. So like they spend a little bit more time reading this content that or engaging with the content that you develop. And then over to the right, in the right hand column, we've outlined, or we've highlighted, a couple of the different pieces of content that we think would be helpful in moving the customer further down their experience to the next stage of the journey. So some of the content, like we want to think about they're going to be thinking about, is this worth it? Are there valid reasons to attend the meeting? Is it a competitive price? And then do I get reimbursed? So some of the pieces of content we want to develop is message on the landing page that talks about ROI, return on investment, and maybe compare what they get out of this meeting and compare it to either a top competitor, or you could just make the case that this is worth the investment, where you can provide resources to scholarships or grants or additional funding. And some of the channels, again, we'll use the standard owned channels that we have, like our social media platforms, our email lists that we've developed, and our landing pages. And the free resource that we recommend for this stage of the user journey that we want to highlight for you is Canva. And that's, I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. That seems to be a very common tool for people to utilize for developing nice graphics that are inexpensive. So we're going to show you one of an infographic that we developed to help move along the argument for attending the meeting. And this is the annual meeting return on investment for CE. As you can see, registration cost versus another annual meeting's registration cost. For more CE, you get a better price. So that is it's a great example. Thanks, Jamila.
Thank you, Jamie. And so, once we've, and we're just highlighting, one of the tactics, right? You'll notice in the boxes on the right, the items that are in a different color would be the ones that we actually decided to utilize as part of this campaign at this stage in time. And one thing that's helpful about this approach is, we are often on a small staff with limited resources. So we know we can't do all of the things all of the time, but utilizing this format and these templates really helps to make it manageable and achievable, and you can look ahead with a very specific kind of scope. So as we get to the decision-making phase, we really, Sophia is really wanting to know what she's going to be able to do as a result of attending the annual meeting. And what she's going to learn and how her skills are going to be enhanced. So some of the things that she's gonna probably do is review the agenda, the speakers, looking at our various blog posts that we've published related to the annual meeting, maybe from some key presenters that provided a blog. She's going to start asking around to her friends and colleagues um, who is going, and she's going to think about actually asking her employer again for the money to attend. And she's still wondering though, because it is a commitment of time, a commitment of being away from her desk, and she wants to make sure that she's going to get what she needs. And so when we're thinking about the content that we're going to present to Sophia at this stage, we want to give her a video on the top 5 reasons to attend. We are going to bring in the testimonials as proof points and evidence at this stage on our Event Micro site. We're going to make available the list of who's coming. We're going to promote the profiles of some of our featured speakers, and we might put together a sizzle reel from a previous meeting. And so we're going to use all of our main own channels, and we're going to utilize Powtoon for our example here. And I apologize in advance if the sound is not going to play. Hopefully someone can let me know. But this is a quick example here, first of all, of a checklist that we created for one of our campaigns. You can see that we have put together a little brand guideline to ensure that everything is going to have a consistent and cohesive look and feel. And then one of the items that we'll utilize in this campaign is a checklist because they're, again, that not too deep and easy, lengthy content people can absorb quickly. And here's a video. I don't know if sound is playing for you guys. I was not able to select the box, but nonetheless, my point is that utilizing a tool called Powtoon, which does have a and I would use one of their pre-existing templates and create this motion graphic video in about 20 minutes. That's customized, to our reactor skincare association. So, be able to access this when you access slides later. But I just wanted to provide that example that you really can make an impact with video quickly and easily and for very low cost. All
Thanks,
right.
Jamila.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So now she's decided to purchase that registration ticket. Hooray! She wants to join the meeting. So she's in the user stage. She's in the purchase stage. And in some of the pieces of content that we've highlighted that we might consider for our content mix would be surveys, user-generated content, newsletters. These are ways that she's attending the meeting, but we want to make sure that she really embraces the meeting. She really engages with our message so that at the other end of it, she becomes an advocate, right? We want to continue moving her through that process so that as an advocate, she's a return registrant. So we want to, our customer goals are, she wants to understand she wants to learn more about the topics. Are they challenging enough? She wants to be at the right place at the right time. So some of the touch points that we want to make sure are smooth for her include registration process, the process for building her agenda. She's going to be planning her travel. So any information you can provide her to help ease that or smooth that transition or that decision-making helps. So she's going to, like, a fun thing to do is maybe she wants to share on social media that she's attending. So if there's a digital badge, you can invite her to download so that she can share on her profile that she's attending and other people can engage with her that way. but the customer thought at this time she's thinking, she's getting excited. Is she ready to go? How is she going to get the most out of the experience? And is it going to be worth the investment? She wants to make sure she gets everything out of this meeting that she can. So some of the content that you might want to consider providing at this stage include just local highlights. So while she's there, is there anything else she can do with her colleagues or on her own? Is there a way that she can really take ownership over this meeting on her own terms? Maybe something that you'll want to do is create a poll so that people can weigh in on what they're most excited about for the meeting. And so the typical channels come into play again here, but we want to highlight social media in particular in some of the tools that we're offering as free or that we're recommending, including pollmaker.com and Canva again. We're going back to Canva because that's, as you can see, there's an infographic that is pre-made for Chicago, reasons to visit the city. And this is infographics are a great thing to post on social media. I found that those get a lot of clicks. People like to look at them, interact with them, and then also repost them because it positions you as the provider, as the developer. You're the expert, and the person who reshares also in turn becomes the expert among their peers and being the first to reshare. Pollmaker.com is another resource that we wanted to highlight. It's a resource that have a lot of free templates that you can use, and it takes little to no time to set these up and to customize them and share them on your resources. And they have good explanations for how to do that on their site. And now we want to do another chat in the chat. So if you could take a moment and just give us some thoughts about what are some other questions you might ask someone after they register for poll.com. If you're going to develop a poll, what are some questions you might want to ask somebody after they've registered for the event, just to increase engagement with the event? Maybe one of the questions I would consider is, which session are you most excited about attending? Or which local Chicago restaurant are you planning to attend?
Mary Tucker says, what are you looking forward to the most?
It's great. And then
a question about the Powtoon video. Yes, it took about 20 minutes on Powtoon because I used a template that they already had for like a top 5 video. It was the audio that they already had. So I just really had to change out the text and swap out the little images that were in there. What topic interests you the most? Biggest challenges you're facing right now? Yeah, this is all great information. And I think, what's important and the benefits of doing this type of polling is really not only, the opportunity to provide another engagement point, but it's also the intelligence that you're gathering, right? And the information that you're getting in advance of the event. So before they even register. And if you're putting this poll out there, often you're going to be able to collect a lot of meaningful data and, perhaps weave some of these into maybe your opening and welcome remarks, and say what we're going to give you based on what people said they wanted. And of course, using it for the design of future meetings. So these are all some great ideas, and ideally you all can scroll through the chat here and get some ideas for yourselves as well. So thanks for taking the time to do that. And we're getting through here in just a few more minutes, and we will jump into an open Q&A. But when we think about our advocates, which, is really post-experience people who have, consumed your products and services and have the greatest potential to be your champions, your evangelists and your ambassadors, I feel like most often, and absolutely certainly I'm guilty of this in past lives, but I feel like this stage of the customer journey is often the most neglected, yet it actually yields the highest return on investment. Because we all know that it costs a lot more to acquire a new customer than it does to retain one who already exists. So just please, 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 um, don't miss out on opportunities to leverage the passion of your greatest fans and make them your ambassadors and evangelists. And a couple of ways, to think about doing this really are through um, offering opportunities for them to share how great of an experience they had. No one wants to really participate in something or invest in something and like have it not be a worthwhile experience. And making sure that they have opportunities and that they are reminded of opportunities to apply their new skills on the job. So, we're sending the thank you email with the survey. We're doing some posts on social media using the hashtags. They're at mentioning on social media. They have signed up for next year's advanced mailing list, and they are sharing at work what they have learned. So they're thinking about they learned so much, they met new people, they saw old friends, they're excited to try new approaches, new ideas, new techniques that they learned, and they're really looking forward to next year. So I think all in all, that was a great experience. We've got some highlight reels, we've got, of course, our attendee survey, our post-event social sharing toolkit. We might offer an exclusive registration, a next time now discount. And we might also do a social post thanking our top tweeters or our top, sharers, and offering them a gift card as a thank you. And that would be like a surprise and delight kind of activity. We're going to utilize all of our channels, and some of the things that we might do to engage our advocates, put together another highlights video, some graphics on Canva, sending some dedicated emails. But there's a couple of things, within the advocate stage that I just want to point out as being important. And really, when we think about the types of contents and the way to leverage your advocates from a marketing standpoint, is really through providing opportunities to recognize and reward them, giving them opportunities to contribute, giving them experiences that are unique or perhaps exclusive, and also leveraging them as experts. So these are just a couple of things that I just wanted to surface from a marketing standpoint that you can think about engaging with your advocates. And so, one final chat is, what are some ways that you might engage those advocates, those folks who are in that stage of the customer journey where they've just had an awesome experience? How can you keep that momentum alive? I'd love to see what you all are thinking about keeping that momentum alive and leveraging the passion of your advocates.
It's a good idea, Mary. Attendee spotlight. I like that.
Digital badging, yes, that's very cool. Gamification, special invites. Everybody loves a special invite, right? And I think that's kind of a key word here, special. And really just think about ways that you can make these individuals feel extra special, because I believe that the more special they feel, the more natural it will be for them to evangelize your organization or your product or your service. Interview them, ask them to serve. Yes, absolutely. Reciprocity, right? That's always great. So I think just a couple of things before we open up for a few more questions. In your template set, we have this list here. It'll be a PDF that's all hyperlinked for each company of the resources that we talked about throughout this presentation today, and some others that we really like and enjoy that we just didn't get the opportunity to cover. But we provided a little bit of a brief description of what it is. And for all of them, there is a free option. And so now, any general questions that we can answer?
No question is a bad question, so feel free to drop them in the chat.
Okay, well,
I think you guys just did an amazing job explaining everything, that everyone is dumbfounded and they have no questions and they're just excited to receive the recording and all of the templates and tools.
yes, absolutely. You can look forward to exploring the templates and tools, work on using them to develop a plan and a budget that is obtainable. Start small. Don't try to do all of the things at one time. Pick one initiative or one campaign and start with that. And remember, it doesn't have to be everything. Start small. And just to let you know, be on the lookout in your inbox. You will get an email with a link to the recording and webinar. Jen, can you tell us who the email might come from?
Yep, the email will come from MCI. You may even receive an email from Jamila herself with some of the template items. We'll be sending out the recording and your template items over the next couple of days. So just be on the lookout for those.
Great. And of course, we'd love to help you with any of your marketing challenges that you're facing. And so certainly you are welcome to scan our QR codes here that have the contact information for myself and for Jamie. You can connect with us on LinkedIn, and we are just so grateful for your participation today, and we look forward to talking to you again soon. So thank you all so very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much for coming. We're really happy to see you and to share this information.